This has been a difficult 4 years in the Commissioner's office. We've dealt with a lot of different challenges, and everything from the flood situation that we've encountered, but also one of the worst financial downturns in the last 70 years. And when you look at all the challenges that we face and have faced over the last few years, and we're making progress. We're coming through it, and we're surviving. And I take some credit for that. That we've navigated through these crises. Working with those groups, working with the partnership, working with people outside of town, with the agriculture community, the trustees, with the Army Corps of Engineers, all those groups, working with them to continue the project moving forward in a way that understands and listens to the needs of business and to our business community and our community, but also values the great contribution that agriculture and our folks out there make to our community as well. So balancing that and working with them to come up with and working with the Army Corps to come up with a plan that makes sense and that we can get buy-in is really an important issue going forward. We have overall our budget is, if you figure in all of our funds and everything, is about $71 million. And we've had some tough times with that over the last few years, and we've come through, and the county supported our sales tax to continue to give us or continue some of that additional funding. But as the state looks at ways to cut budgets and potentially put on additional responsibilities on the counties, that will continue to stress county budgets. So working within that budget, making sure that we are running the county government as efficiently as possible to be able to deal with those other challenges that are on the horizon is also going to be a major challenge over the next 4 years for the Commissioner's office. And so the idea that government has grown by leaps and bounds in Hancock County is not the case. In fact, over the last couple of years I've done a lot of research on this. We spend approximately $208 a person in Hancock County to provide all the general fund services that we provide. That includes the jail, that includes the Sheriff's Department, that includes the court system, that includes the Recorder's Office, Treasurer's Office, Commissioner's Office, all of the general fund services that we provide. We spend about $208 a person. You compare that to our neighbors. We have been spending less dollars in the general for our general fund expenditures than our other counties that look very similar to us have. Since the 2007 flood, we have had an office space problem because we have several thousand square feet of office space that we're leasing in different areas of town. So that is not economical for government to do over the long term, because it really bleeds your operational budget. That comes out of your operational budget, and so it bleeds that down. Central Middle School, working with the schools, one of the things that we did in November was work that out so that eventually we could move some of our government offices into that structure. So in the short term, though, the reason that the 514 building was considered and we have exercised an option to purchase is that we were already expending hundreds of thousands of dollars in a lease there over the next several years. And when it came down to it, when you added up how much we would be expending in leases, if you go for 5 years, over the next 5 years, and what we could potentially receive back in FEMA dollars, you would be ahead by purchasing the building and then potentially selling the building if you do end up moving at some point down the road back to the private sector. We should continue to play a role in economic development efforts. We should continue to provide people for grants, write for grants that we have for a very long time. We should continue to provide planning services and and mapping and those sorts of things that we have provided for a long time. We should continue to do those things. We should also continue to provide efforts and work with all of our economic development partners, whether they're at the local level, the state level, or the national level. We should work with all of those and be in contact with them. And we should also be encouraging our local groups to continue to reach out in town and out of town to our current businesses, to retain those, help those businesses take advantage of things like revolving loan fund or other programs that may be available at the state or federal level, so that we can also keep and maintain the businesses that are already here. So we need to continue to do those things, and we need to even double our efforts and continue to do a better and better job every chance that we can at that. We certainly should keep the bridge situation in good shape, but we may also begin to move some of the bridge money that has been put into bridges over the last several years and begin to funnel some more money into the roads and repaving and resurfacing and tar and chip and those sorts of different options for roads in Hancock County. Now it's going to be a slow process, but we can continue to look for things like grants and dollars from the federal government and from the state government and through public works and those sorts of things to try to bring more and more roads up to a reasonable level, and we will focus on that and work towards that. I think we also need to continue to work with criminal justice over over the next 4 years. We have a lot of issues in our community that center around criminal justice, and including some drug issues in our community that are very difficult to root out. We need to continue to work on that. Over the last 4 years, we've begun making some progress. Some little things like changing the subdivision regulations and making it so we went from a 5-year storm event requirement on a detention pond in a subdivision to a 100-year storm event. We've now engaged the Army Corps of Engineers and beginning to talk with the Maumee Valley Conservancy District. So we're making progress on those flooding issues, and of course we've passed a sales tax that we're setting aside money for flood mitigation. Those are major major steps towards the flood problems in our community. We've made progress on building issues. We've got a medium term. It's a couple years away, but we've worked with Central, the schools, the Findlay City Schools, to make Central available to the county government for some long-term space needs once that facility opens up, that will deal with some of the issues that county government has been dealing with for a very long time with our space needs. Not only not having enough space, but the inefficiency of some of the space that we have. And something that I pushed for was to institute a wellness program in Hancock County for our employees. And during the last, since that program has been instituted, during the last 2 years, we have actually seen reductions in our health insurance premiums. In an era where health insurance premiums are skyrocketing everywhere else, we've seen reductions 2 years in a row. We've made progress on our workers' compensation costs. We've joined a program that's projected to save save taxpayers over $100,000 a year in workers' compensation costs, which is a huge benefit to our county. We've made major upgrades to the landfill, and with the major expansion, but also we've been working and been on the forefront of green energy, working with a company to come in and harvest and drill for the gas that is already being naturally created at the landfill, and collect that and then as they begin collecting it and we get down this road, they will begin using that gas and turning it into electricity in a green energy.